Hello, all. Hi, Miss Knox. Hi, Chris. Hi, Brian. Hi, Amanda. Hi, Miss Vanity.
Hello.
Hey.
Hello, Miss Susan. I'm going to go ahead and get us live streaming on Facebook. We do have some attendees. Alex and Miss Florence, Miss Joan, and Joanna and Luke are all here with us. A couple other people are joining as we speak. So I'm going to go ahead and get this live stream going. So this is your last chance to say anything bad before it's on the internet forever. Give me just a second, guys. Captain Jones, welcome.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing well. Full disclosure, you're going to get hit with a lot of questions tonight.
Uh-oh, what about?
I don't know. Maybe the Citizens app and all of the activity lately.
I haven't received any, I have not received any information or emails about what's going on, so.
I've been waiting to hear back as well, so. Let's see, December 2020. What am I missing?
Hello, I'm here.
Hello.
Hi, Miss Wilder. Give us just a minute. We're going live on Facebook.
Okay.
Give people just a couple more minutes to join. Oh, thank you. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Hey, Kate.
Yes, ma'am.
Again, I don't have the November financials yet. Susan and I are going to get together on Sunday and generate them. So at the next meeting, we'll have November and December.
Perfect.
Just so you know. Okay.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and get started this evening. I'm going to go ahead and call the December 2020 Madisonville Community Council meeting to order. This is the last meeting of what has been a very interesting year. So welcome. As for the Amanda 9th month in a row, we're going to go ahead and kick off our virtual meeting. I'm going to turn it over to Amanda to go ahead and review our virtual meeting info for everyone. Take it away.
Hey guys, I'm sorry for those of you that have had to hear the same spiel for what feels like forever now, but I'll try to make it brief. So as Kate mentioned, we are live streaming on Facebook. So those of you watching us on Facebook, feel free to comment and ask questions. I'll be monitoring that, and just know that there's a little bit of a delay. So we may have moved on to another topic, but we will try our best to get back and answer your questions. So those of you joining us via Zoom, we encourage you to use the Q&A area, which is down in the bottom. If you're on your computer, it should be kind of near all of your other action items that you can take. So it's just Q&A, type a question in there, kind of cues it up for us as panelists. We can see them, and we if you need to message someone, you can use the chat feature. Try to keep your questions that are for everybody else out of that, just so we can kind of keep them organized if you can in the Q&A section. And then you should also have, if you're an attendee, you should have the ability to raise your hand if you'd like to speak. So if you'd rather just ask your question, or if you just want to comment on something, you can just use that raise your hand, and Kate will do her best to pull you off mute. I think she prompts you. So I think a prompt will come through on your computer asking you to take yourself off mute. So just be aware of that, and then try to mute yourself once your time is up. I think that covers it. So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Ms. Amanda. And just so that everyone is aware, this is being recorded. This is being live streamed. If you type it in the chat, it becomes public record. If you type it on Facebook, everyone can see it. Not a deterrent, just to be aware, because it is the end of the year and we're getting ready to do all of our end of year reporting. So this year's, like I said, going to be a little bit different. So I learned that all the transcripts need to be included. So any questions, any comments, all get to be included, which is actually a good reporting tool. So look forward to it. Thank you, Ms. Vandy. She noticed that I wore lipstick today, and in this time of Zoom calls and face masks, I think it's the first time I've actually put on lipstick in like 6 months. So thank you for noticing. It's the little things. It's December. With that, I am going to go ahead and put Captain Jones on the spot today.
Uh-oh.
After our moment of silence, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance today? Thank you. All right, if we could all just take a brief moment of silence. It's a great time to just reflect on 2020. And with that, I'm going to put Captain Jones on the spot. If you would like to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, I appreciate it.
Sure. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Joan kind of already gave us a treasurer's report. I'm going to put Miss Joan and Miss Susan, they're still in transition. On the spot, Miss Susan, I'm going to go ahead and spotlight you. So everybody can meet Miss Susan. Miss Susan is our new treasurer. She's taking over for Joan. So if you haven't had a chance to meet Miss Susan, welcome Miss Susan. The treasurer's report is currently not available. We'll have the updated treasurer's reports per Susan and Joan next month. So we look forward to reviewing those. And as always, we'll have the end of year financials as well, I believe, in January. I'm not sure if Susan or Joan wants to speak to that, just to confirm.
I think Joan's nodding her head.
Joan, end of year financials next month too. Thumbs up.
Thumbs up, yes.
Perfect. All right, and then hold you ladies to it. We'll look forward to seeing those next month. Thank you. We're going to move on to public administration announcements. Fire department, actually, I just heard them out a little bit ago on a run. So I'm going to turn it over to, once again, Captain Jones for update from the police department. All
right. Okay, so looking at the stats for the last month and year to date, we had very little activity for the last 28 days. There were just a couple of incidents, a couple burglaries. We have had some aggravated assaults, and the aggravated assaults are assaults where we have some injuries that are more severe, but most of these are situations where it's a domestic type of situation, where the individuals know each other. They're in a home or an apartment, and some dispute happens, and so this isn't the type of random unknown suspect, innocent victim. These are individuals that know each other where this happens. So I'm not too alarmed by that. And when you look at year-to-date overall, 2020 is the lowest both in violent crime and in property crime for Madisonville in the last 4 years. We're looking at a reduction of 22%. Looking at last year, with a 12% reduction in violent crime and a 23% reduction in property crime. So again, we are doing very, very well in Madisonville.
Right. I have, before everybody else jumps in, I know there's already a question in the Q&A. I have a question specific to the Citizens app, which has been floating around now, being pretty heavily utilized here probably within the last 6 months because we're all home and we're all seeing and hearing things. There have been repeated reports of gunfire in specific sections of Madisonville. Seems like it's been almost daily in the past 2 weeks, specific to Chandler and Whetsel, Ward and Owasco, Chandler and Desmond. I know the Citizens app is not the official tool, so to speak, of the Cincinnati Police Department. I know that there have been concerns about neighborhoods using it, people actually going and looking and finding crime, so to speak, in an attempt to kind of step in.
And so just real quick, I wanted to address, there was a comment that said, they talked about we're aware of numerous shootings. What I can tell you is we have to be very specific when we use some of these terms. There are shots fired runs where folks may be shooting off a firearm versus actual shootings, where when we're talking about folks being shot. We do not have an increase in folks being shot in Madisonville. And in fact, in District 2, period, we are up 3 year to date, basically meaning when you look at last year, we've had 3 more shootings in District 2 in 2020 than we had in 2019. That is a very small increase, especially when you look at citywide. When you look at citywide across all the neighborhoods, all 52 neighborhoods, District 2 is doing really well. There are some areas that are experiencing 100% increases in individuals being shot. So I just want to be very clear that what we're talking about is an increase, or at least a perceived increase, in shots fired runs, not individuals shot, especially not individuals shot in Madisonville. I just want to make sure everybody's, can we agree on that? Is that what we're talking about, an increase in shots fired runs? Definitely
an increase in shots fired runs, or at least shots fired reportings specifically to the Citizen app.
Okay, all right. Okay, so I just want to make sure everybody's aware. So what we do is we have every week, all the commanders, we meet, and we all each talk about, in front of the chief and the assistant chiefs, we talk about the increase in crime, decrease in crime, the different crime trends. One of the things we consistently look at is reports of shots fired. And what I can tell you is that you may be seeing this on the Citizens app, you may be seeing some reports, but we necessarily are not receiving those on our end. And the reports that I'm getting and looking at, I do not see an increase in shots fired in Madisonville. It doesn't mean it's not happening. It doesn't mean we're not seeing an increase, or it's not actually not occurring. It's just not being reported to the police department. So I would love to hear, what are the areas you guys are seeing and hearing, at least anecdotally, where shots fired runs are increasing?
And before I answer that question, and I can give you specific addresses. I've got to actually have the app up. Where are they? I guess it's concerning because the impression is that the citizens app data is coming from the police department, which sounds like is not the case. So are you able to see where they're getting their data even from?
I'm not saying that it's not. What I'm saying is you guys are saying there's an increase. I'm not. So they may be receiving the information, and it may be shots fired run, but I'm not saying that. From what I'm saying, it's not a huge increase.
Okay.
So does the citizens app itself say, comparatively saying there's an increase, or is it just reporting the incidents?
Just reporting.
Right. So that's what I'm talking about. Maybe you guys are just seeing it now, and you're seeing the information. You're seeing it more real time. I'm just wondering, is the app itself comparing, or you're just seeing this information?
For me specifically, I feel like I'm just seeing it every day, and there are a couple other questions, and they may be able to. I'm going to open the questions up to those people. They may be able to shed a little bit more light on them.
Okay.
Amanda, you want to go ahead and start with the questions?
Yes, so I'll start with the first one that came in and work my way down. So this is from Sarah. So she asked, what's up with the shootings that keep being reported at Chandler and Whetsel? She says maybe she heard that shots were fired into a house or into houses.
Okay. So the one thing I will say, and I should have prefaced this at the beginning, when we have these meetings, I would really stress sending the questions to me or to Officer Brown in advance. That way I can do my due diligence, I can do my research, and I can come back to you with very specific information during the meeting. I would like to get this beforehand. What I'm going to have to do is I'm going Chandler and Whetsel, we're going to have to do some research on that, and I'm going to have to get back to you and answer those questions. Because if it's not if it's an aggregate type situation where we've got multiple calls, I need to have some time to be able to look into that.
So the next one was from Tess, and I'm going to read it, but I believe you may have already answered it. So hi, Captain Jones. There have been a multitude of reports coming over the Citizen app about gun-related incidents. Are you familiar with this app and these reports? Can you speak to the accuracy or not?
And so the Citizen app itself, I don't have a lot of hands-on experience with it. It's being relayed to me that the Citizen app, what it's doing is it's pulling some of our data. I don't know if it's driven by calls for service or if it's driven by self-reporting from citizens who are using it. What I can say over and over is, from the data that I look at, which is calls for service that come into our communication center, I am not seeing an increase in shots fired runs in Madisonville. I'm not saying there's not shot fired runs, and I'm not saying that you guys are not seeing an increase, at least in the reporting on the app. What I can tell you is, based off the data that I'm receiving through our calls for service, through our, I am not seeing an increase in shots fired runs in Madisonville.
All right, and then I have a question from Grace. Is there any way to increase patrol to try and prevent shots fired? And is there any idea what could possibly be going on?
So, again, I don't want to sound like a broken record. I wish I would have had these questions prior to the meeting, because again, there's nothing popping up on the radar that I look at weekly that suggests to me that we are having an increase in shots fired runs in Madisonville. You guys I'm getting this information now. What I would need to do is get with my data analyst to crunch those numbers, and at that point determine, one, are we seeing an increase, and two, dive deeper into why do we think that is. So if I have the opportunity, Chandler and Whetsel was the one. Do we have any other addresses or any other areas, or are we talking about just Madisonville as a whole?
I have somebody on Facebook who lives over Chandler and Stewart. So that's the only other area that's been commented on in any of the chats or on Facebook tonight. But Kate did mention that she's got a few addresses she might be able to give to you. Well,
Catherine, I will pull the street intersections from the app and actually send those to you.
Okay.
You can pinpoint. I know the Chandler and Whetsel one specifically. I believe it was actually a car that was involved in hitting a telephone pole, and the person went away on foot. That happened yesterday morning. So I know that one is actually very fresh.
Okay. So if you want to email me those addresses, I'll look into it. I got to make sure the data analyst is available. I believe she goes on vacation next week. We're using the one from District 4 because our data analyst got promoted to sergeant. So what I can do is send that over to her. If you get it to me tonight, I'm hoping I will send it to her tonight, and I'm hoping she can crunch it before next week is what I would really like. She's very quick. She's very efficient. I just know that she sent out a notice saying that she was going on vacation next week. So with the holidays and all. So the quicker you get it to me, I can send it over to her. Worst case scenario, it would be after the next week that we could get those crunched and get back to you.
Okay. I will get those to you. It'll probably be after the meeting this evening, but I will get those street intersections.
Sure. And you know me, I answer emails night and day, so I will definitely send that over to her as soon as I get it.
I know. It looks like Ms. Grace has a follow-up question. She's actually raising her hand, so I'm not sure if this is a follow-up to what she's previously asked, but I'm going to go ahead and oh, where'd she go? There. Ms. Grace, I think you need to unmute yourself. Oh, there we go.
Thank you, Captain Jones. I just wanted to say I personally live in the area that's in question. So
What area exactly? Chandler and Whetsel, Chandler and Stewart?
I live on Kenwood. So I've personally been hearing all of these reports. So I know quite a few of them are true, whether or not anyone is actually injured. I've personally called in a couple myself. And I know I probably should have asked ahead of time, but I really appreciate you looking into it.
Without a doubt, and we will look into it. Again, I just go based off the information I have. And I definitely stress that if we have questions for a specific meeting, if you just give me a couple days notice on the specific questions, we will have that all worked out, and I will have a response for you at the meeting.
Sure, great. Yeah, this is the first one that I've attended, so I appreciate it. That's all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Grace. Amanda, were there any other questions online or in the chat?
We have quite a few Facebook, but they're mostly comments just regarding this topic. There don't look to be any questions out there at this time. We did get a question on when we might get, I'm sorry, I'm seeing this in our chat, when we might get a follow-up.
Like I said, she sent out a message, my crime analyst that I'm using, she sent out a message. She had done some other research for me, and that she was going on vacation next week. I am hoping that she's in tomorrow, and if Kate can send me that information, that I can get it to her. Hopefully she'll be able to do it. Otherwise, there is going to be a little bit of delay, again, because of the vacation and being gone next week.
And that's understandable. I will get those to you this evening.
As soon as she comes back, again, she's extremely efficient. She's very good. As soon as she is there and she has the ability to do that, we can dive deeper into it, and I'll be able to come back with you all and to talk about what that analysis found.
Okay. Sounds good. Any other questions, Amanda?
It's not a question, but it does maybe it has a question in there. So this is someone on Facebook that has had experience calling some of these in, and they said it takes about 30 minutes for people to get there. And so I guess maybe the question might be like, is that, how often does that time vary? Or is that like what to be expected in terms
response time is going to vary depending on staffing levels and what's going on during that incident. So 30 minutes for a shots fired run where no one is struck. I'm not going to say that's totally out of bounds. I would like it to be quicker, but I'm not going to say 30 minutes. I would say 30 minutes is probably going to be hopefully on the higher threshold. What we are dealing with right now is the Cincinnati Police Department, like many other organizations, we are really being hit by COVID. I have maybe at this point 15% of the staff in District 2 out right now because of COVID. Either they have COVID or they were exposed and they're on quarantine. So right now, 15%. And most of these, and then I'll have to actually jack that number up a little bit, because these folks that are out right now are part of my uniform patrol. We have about a little over 100 officers right now in District 2, sergeants, and 15 of those are out. They are all actually the patrol. So what that does is that really takes away from our strength being able to respond to some of these. So that may be adding to the increased response time, because we are really struggling right now getting folks back to full duty because either they test positive or they're on quarantine and they're out 10 days. So we're doing a lot of juggling right now, just keeping the minimum staffing. So that may lead to that.
All right, I think that is it for chat and the Q&A and what we have on Facebook. Thank you.
Thank you, Captain Jones. I appreciate your time. I will get you that information. Hopefully we can get that back, hopefully before she goes out of town.
I do have one other thing that I need to say, and it's very regrettable to me. We are going through a reorganization of some of the command staff here in the police department. We've got some movement coming along, and unfortunately, this will be my last meeting as the District 2 commander. On January 10th, I will be transferred to our police academy, and I will be taking over the training section. Our special services commander, Danita Pettis, she will be coming to District 2, and she will be the new District 2 commander starting January 10th. And I just wanted to say that this assignment, being the District 2 commander, being the captain here, has been the best assignment that I've had in the police department. For those of you that don't know, I was born and raised here, born and raised in Oakley. I tell everybody I used to ride my big wheel and my bike on these streets. I went to elementary school at Hyde Park Elementary. I went to Walnut Hills High School, went to Xavier University. My first house was in Madisonville. And so I have connections to all these neighborhoods, so it's very bittersweet that I will be leaving and taking this new position. I will be assisting Captain Pettis in the transition and coming in and helping her get a feel for all 14 neighborhoods that comprise District 2. Again, my preference would be to stay here for 3-4 more years. I've been here for 3 years. But we have to give other folks other opportunities to have some of these positions. So again, it's a little bit of sadness that I would have to say that. I will be here till January 10th and be able to assist. But I've enjoyed greatly working with Madisonville. We've had some different things come up, and we've worked through them. And the relationships, I've run in the 5K. That was a great time, and I have some great memories of being here and working with Madisonville.
Well, I'm disappointed. I'm excited for you. I mean, that's a great new opportunity to be able to shape the training program there with the academy. So it is bittersweet, and you will be missed. And now I'm going to send you everything. If anybody has any other requests before he leaves on January 10th, maybe if we give him a whole bunch of work, then he'll stay a little bit
Right.
longer.
That's
So,
right. That's right.
um,
Well, again, it's been a great pleasure working with all the neighborhoods. Again, Madisonville is near and dear to my heart, again, because of the connections I've had there. So, yeah.
it has been a pleasure, sir. It has been a pleasure.
All right. Well, thank you all very much.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
Well, that's some tough news to follow, but I definitely know that Miss Knox with John P. Parker School can definitely handle it. It is all you, ma'am.
Well, good evening, Madisonville, and that is a hard act to follow. We appreciate you, Captain Jones. Well, I have good news. Our kids are still doing well. We still have challenges like every other city, every other school in the city, but our kids are doing well. Our parents are paying attention. Can you see me? My computer seems to be looking odd to me.
That's a little bit better.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry, there's something else on my screen. So we've had a fairly decent semester considering. We've also had staff out either with COVID or because of close proximity. So it has been very challenging. We have a great staff and they're working through it. We are now recruiting for kindergarten. We are looking forward to the 21 season. And it's exciting to know that we have folks who are anxious to plan for the 21 season. I want you all to also remember that we are a college prep beginning in grade 4 through 6, and the learners can live anywhere in the city. We are a magnet from 4 to 6 for college prep. So our kindergarten recruitment will start very soon, and we expect to continue with our 3 classrooms and aiming for more. We appreciate all of your support. I'm still getting caps at the door, and we thank you for continuing to send those caps. We really appreciate it because we are going to figure out how we're going to get this done. We are starting some after-school remote programs. Maybe I should call them more activities. We're going to be offering some choice that they will be STEM related for our learners to have something to do at 3 o'clock. We know that they're on the computer from 8:15 to really 2:30 because they can have one-on-one with their teachers after 1:30. So starting at 3:30, in addition to the academic tutoring that we're offering right now, we will be offering some STEM activities for the kids to enjoy. So that's my report. That's what I'm sticking to today.
It is always good to see you. Are there any questions for Ms. Knox or the staff at John P. Parker?
Nothing online.
All right, Ms. Knox, well, thank you. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and thank you for your hard work these past 2 quarters. It has not gone unnoticed.
Well, and I appreciate that. I thank you, and I thank you all for your support. Be well and be safe.
You do the same. We'll talk soon. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to our other Ms. Pam Wilder from, I'm going out of order on it. Nope, I'm not. From Schroeder High School. Hello, Ms. Wilder. How are you?
I am tremendous. How are you, Madisonville?
Doing well. What's Schroeder up to these days?
Well, actually, Indy connected us with Sophie Rivas from the Learning Center, Gardening Learning Center, and we are working together to improve our grounds, the grounds of the school. She's working with one of our teachers, and also 2 of our teachers, actually. Our environmental science teacher has working with Cincinnati State, someone from Cincinnati State, to design our grounds and figure out how we're going to make that happen. So I'm very excited about that, and I really thank Indy for connecting us with her. As Pam said, we are, it's been challenging this year. We are trying to get our seniors to graduate in an environment that they are not accustomed to. So we have developed a plan of adopting them. The teachers in the building are taking 2 students each, at least, to help them overcome the hurdles that they're experiencing both at home and in the academic setting, the remote academic setting. As you're aware, we'll be remote at least until the end, well, the middle of January, but more than likely the end, and maybe longer. And we are working now to help our students be independent learners, because that is really what's required for success in this environment. And so it is, as Pam has said, it is challenging in a lot of ways. But we are uplifted because we are working as a team to make sure that our students are getting what they need.
Excellent. Well, keep Indy, our education chair, posted. Anything that you need from the support level, let us know.
Thank you. Will do.
All right. Always good to see you. Thanks for joining us this evening.
Sure.
And I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Vanity. I had to find you in my scroll. Ms. Vanity from Citizens of the World Academy. How are you doing this evening?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing well. Good to see you.
Great. So good evening, everybody. As a reminder, we are a new free public charter school that will be in the Madisonville community. We are right across from Bramble Park, and we will be opening with grades kindergarten and first in the fall of 2021. We have a lot of exciting stuff going on right now. We just hired a principal, and so we will be announcing that on our website in a couple of weeks. We also have some jobs posted. A director of operations role was posted about 2 weeks ago. And we will also be posting a director of family engagement role, and that'll be posted before the holiday break. Our rotunda is also almost complete, so we'll be doing some videos from inside of there just to do like a virtual welcome house, since we are still in the midst of COVID. And we just continue to thank the community for support and look forward to being able to engage with you all more regularly. Our social media will be up in the next couple of weeks, and so we look forward to engaging with folks on there as well.
Excellent. All right, well, thank you for the update. And I did not ask this, and I apologize, I didn't ask when it was either Ms. Pam or Ms. Knox. So at this point, does anybody have any questions for any of our education facilities, either for John P. Parker or for Schroeder or for Citizens of the World? And same for Amanda, if there was anything online.
Nothing online.
All right, you're off the hook. Thank you for joining us. We look forward to the next update from all of our schools. And with that, before we turn it over to Taylor Liggins with SORTA, I do want to let everybody know Terry was not since I in Hamilton County Public Libraries was not able to join us. He did want to let us know that the hours of the library have changed. Right now they are open 10 in the morning until 6 p.m. Monday through Saturday. I believe he shared or will be sharing with Amanda some additional information about the programs going on over the next 2 weeks while the kids are on holiday. So we will get that information out as soon as it's available. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Taylor Liggins, who is here. Hi, Taylor, who is here from SORTA to talk about the Reinventing the Metro project. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. Thank you, Kate, for the invitation. I'll be brief. I'm just announcing an update, an upcoming community meeting we're having. But I would love for questions, any questions or feedback or ideas. I'll give my email, my cell number, so we can chat. I'm happy to do that with anyone. But we're approaching a really exciting time at Metro. Oh, let me back up. So my name is Taylor. I am the community engagement specialist for Metro. I recently started in the position, so I'm excited to engage with everyone to talk about, ideas and feedback. And I'm also really excited because we are at a really interesting time in SORTA's history. The first time that our organization has been well resourced due to the new funding with Issue 7 and all of the support and hard work and dedication folks all across Hamilton County did to get Issue 7 passed. So to talk about the Reinventing Metro, how we are going to reinvent our system over the next 4 or 5 years, we will be having a series of community meetings to discuss this. And so those community meetings will start in January and go through the beginning of February. And we'll talk everything from, on the granular, small detail, talking about individualized routes and changes, all the way to the big picture of how this will impact our community when we can connect folks to jobs and healthcare and education, especially, in a post-COVID world when we start to, we get past COVID and we start to reopen our community. So specifically for Madisonville, I think maybe the route meeting that is most pertinent would be Route 11. And so that meeting will be January 14th at 6 p.m. And so we'll talk about, the improvements that communities like Madisonville will see in year one, and that includes more frequent buses coming, more weekend service, 24-hour service. And then again, we'll also talk big picture of the impact to the community. We'll have a list of meetings coming out. So look for information on how to RSVP to the meeting. It will be through Zoom, how to get the Zoom link and everything and RSVP. We'll also share that on our website and our social media. And I'll make sure to share it with you, Kate, so you can share it with everyone. But please come out, listen. We want your feedback. We want your ideas. And so thank you all so much. Again, that meeting for Route 11 is January 14th at 6 p.m. And then I'll give my email and cell if anyone wants it. My email is tliggins, TLIGGINS @go-metro.com. Again, that's tliggins @go-metro.com. And then my phone number is 513-206-7823. Again, that's 513-206-7823. So thank you all so much. Look forward to connecting.
Thank you, Ms. Taylor. Were there any questions for Ms. Taylor, either online or in the chat? And while I do have you here, I do want to ask the question because somebody actually brought this up to me yesterday about the possibility, I don't know if this will be tied in with the Reinventing Metro project, the possibility of having bus shelters in addition to the benches that we currently have on our Route 11 in Madisonville.
Yeah, so definitely I think part of the Reinventing Metro plan is to have more shelters. But I think that's something that, and I will write this down, that we can highlight in that Route 11 meeting. As well as I'm happy to check with our planners to see if they're specific. They can give you detailed, like this stop and this stop and this stop. You'll see, new shelters and new infrastructure. So I'm happy to kind of get some detailed information from one of our planners.
That would be great. Thank you. And we will get that meeting information out. I know that a lot of us still ride the bus. Were once upon a time on the bus. I actually just took my daughter on the bus earlier this year for the first time. She loved it. Didn't understand why we have to take the car everywhere now.
Right.
But having that transportation piece is so important here in Madisonville, and it gets a lot of people around. So we'll be looking forward to it. January 14th at 6, correct?
That's correct.
I'm assuming virtual?
Yep, through Zoom. And so we'll have information of how to RSVP.
Perfect.
Great. Thank you all so much.
You're welcome. Thank you, Ms. Taylor. All right, I'm back. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and move into our board reports. As I'm sure most of you are aware at this point, there is now a 4-way stop, an all-way stop at Plainville and Rowe. There was temporarily put up on Monday. They put in the permanent stop signs today and painted the striping across the streets as well. I was also notified today that Nate Waller, if you're listening, there will now be a 3-way stop at Erie and Settle. Department of Transportation and Engineering is still exploring the best option for street calming down at the end of the bridge on Settle Street where the Little Duck Creek Trail crosses over. So as soon as I have updates for that, I will let you know. That at minimum, we do have that 3-way stop, which is something that has been pushed for quite some time. While I don't always comment on the next door posts that are out there, I have been watching, I have been looking at the feedback in the comments from the placement of the stop signs on Plainville and Row. And one of the most interesting comments, or ones that I love, was somebody said, who actually decided that this should go there? There's a very simple answer: the citizens of Madisonville did. This is something that citizens have been asking for, depending on who you ask, upwards of 20 years. That is a 4-way intersection where there have been almost deadly accidents, where people have had near misses getting hit while crossing the street. Our streets should not be treated as thoroughfares. I think Amanda said it best: don't be in such a rush to get home that somebody else doesn't make it. So those stop signs are very important. There were a couple of people that asked about whether or not a traffic light was warranted. They did look at the traffic. At the time, it did not warrant the stoplight. As with most streets in Cincinnati, they will reassess if they find data that will later on support putting in a traffic light there. For those of you that live along the streets there on Plainville, do not feel like you have been left out. There's still work to be done. Over the next 6 months, I know the Department of Transportation and Engineering is going to be looking at each of those entrances onto Plainville from each of those streets. I know there are a lot of visibility issues because of the closeness in which cars park to each of those intersections. So they will be looking at each of those streets, determining whether or not those no parking signs need to be moved back to allow for better visibility. We will keep you posted with that. I wish there was a way that there was a better way to let you know when stop signs and changes to traffic patterns happen in the city. I was notified last week that they hope that the requisition would be signed off on by Friday. And that was just a requisition. The stop signs were put up on Monday. So the city is working very fast, which is amazing for the traffic calming in Madisonville. Like I said, it's much warranted. I saw several requests for additional traffic calming on Bramble Avenue. I will put that on the list for Department of Transportation and Engineering to assess, to see what outcomes there can be in terms of ways to slow down traffic. We have the park right there. Citizens of the World is going to be opening next fall. So there's going to be a school zone. School zones mean 20 miles an hour, not 45. So we look forward to getting some additional data and some additional feedback. Thank you, Amanda. I was literally about to segue into the traffic reporting tool. There is a traffic reporting tool out with the city of Cincinnati. They would love it if you would notify the city through this reporting tool, not just of accidents that happen, but of near misses. So if you're walking across the street and somebody almost hits you and you're in the middle of a crosswalk because somebody didn't slow down, report it on that tool. If somebody almost hits you as you're at a stop sign and somebody else doesn't stop, report it on the tool. The best way that we can get the traffic calming needs from the city of Cincinnati is by data. The city runs, as Captain Jones said, the city runs on data. So if the data is there to justify the traffic calming needs, like traffic signals, crosswalks, stop signs, all of those things, if the data is there, then we can get the things that we need in the neighborhood. The residents of Madisonville have to be the ones to put in that data. So the city is listening. The city's waiting to hear back from you. So keep doing what you guys are doing with traffic calming. The graffiti, the bees. As Captain Jones had mentioned last month, graffiti is graffiti. Graffiti is illegal. People were disappointed because the bees were painted over. That is the city's stance on all graffiti. The bees have been painted over. The bees have not reappeared. We actually put out a call, if anybody was listening that knew who the graffiti artist was, to have them contact community council. We would love to engage them in some actual sanctioned work, if you will, for some public art in Madisonville. Unfortunately, private property was destroyed with the graffiti. So we're going to be looking, when the weather clears up, Joan and I have already talked about it, repainting the wall at Kenwood and Madisonville. Both on the mural side, there was some damage to the mural side, as well as the opposite side where Metro is. There were dumpsters that were marked. There were buildings that were marked. This costs the taxpayers money. If you're on Nextdoor saying how much you love the bees, it's not helping. It's basically telling people that it's okay to keep doing graffiti, which then requires the city to turn around and spend money to fix the issue, which means they're not spending the money on the things that the neighborhood really needs. So just keep that in mind. Parking update from DCED, the parking study hopefully should be completed. We should have results here, we're hoping the end of January. We will continue to keep a pulse on that and to keep you posted. Before I move on to just a couple of committee items that we have, are there any outstanding questions that I can potentially answer or go back and do research on? Amanda, anything online or in the chat?
No.
Yes, okay. Alrighty, committee reports. We actually don't have anything this evening. There is, actually I take that back. There is one piece of business that I'm going to be requesting on behalf of Ms. Tony Tanks, who is our Madisonville Youth Community Council Chair. She is requesting from their Youth Community Council account $500 for end of year youth celebration. This is something that Ms. Tony does every year with the kids to thank them for the hard work that they've done. They did some great work this past summer. In spite of COVID, they actually worked in small pods, and a lot of their work has been displayed all over the community. If you go to the rec center, and I'm sure Brian will talk about it here shortly, there's an amazing greenhouse that these kids built over the span of a couple of weekends. So with that, she's going to have to do something a little bit different to show the appreciation for the kids, but I do believe that it is warranted. So at this time, I would like to ask if we can get a motion on the floor to allocate $500 from the Youth Community Council Fund for their end of year celebration.
Oh, I could put a motion out there for the.
Thank you, Ms. Susan. It looks like Mr. Capisar, good to see you, sir, has also made a second. I'm going to open it up. Is there any discussion or questions before we go ahead and put it to a vote? Okay. If there is no discussion, I'm going to go ahead and put the poll out there. Give me just a second. I've got to find it. Panelists, Zoom has actually allowed the option for panelists to now vote. So if you are a member of community council, you have the ability, if you are on the panel, to vote. You should see that pop up here for voting. While we are collecting those votes, I'm going to turn the floor over to Ms. Amanda, who wanted to talk about the communications.
Hey guys. All right, so I am the communications chair, and we are very excited. MCC partnered with MKirk and Business Chamber, and we put out our second newsletter of this year. So this should be coming to a mailbox near you soon if you're in Madisonville. I just got mine today, and we just dropped them off today, Thursday. We dropped them off Tuesday night. So I know USPS is super backed up this time of year, so it might be a little bit, so just hang in there if you don't get yours as quick. But we will also we have a few extra hard copies that we're going to be placing around Madisonville. So we'll send some over to the library, and Kirk's offices will have some. We'll make sure the rec center also has some. So I will be posting a link out on our social media and our website that has an electronic version if you prefer to read it that way. But really excited, and thank you to everybody that participated. We had a business in here as well as several committee members. that also helped out with this. If you are interested, if you ever want to write an op-ed or a letter to the editor, please just shoot me an email. I'm at communications@ourmadisonville.com. I would love to hear from you, or if you just have a good idea for the next newsletter. We're always looking for fresh stuff. So really excited. And again, thank you to everyone that participated in that.
Thank you, Amanda. And just to piggyback on that, Amanda and Jordan are truly the brains behind, Jordan with MKirk are truly the brains behind this newsletter, and they've done an amazing job. And just to reiterate, we are always looking for content. So if you have suggestions, if you have content you would like to see, in retrospect, it would have been great if we had known about the stop signs getting implemented ahead of time. We would have put that in the newsletter. So we're going to be making sure that we get some city information out there as quickly and as timely as possible as well going forward. But they did an amazing job, and we appreciate you. So thank you both, ladies. With that, I'm going to end the voting. There were 15 in favor, 0 against, and 3 abstentions. So we will let Ms. Tony know that the kids can finalize their end of year celebrations with our blessing. So thank you for that. We're going to go ahead and move over to agency announcements. This will be going through really quick. Artsville is unable to be here tonight. I will let the community know that this past Saturday, Artsville gave out, with the help of several community sponsors, 200 arts boxes to our kids in the neighborhood. It was quite well received. We actually ran out an hour before the event ended. So we'll definitely keep that in mind going forward. So look for more programming and things coming from Artsville in the future. Children's Home update. Jill also was unable to be here this evening, but she did want to let us know that at the Children's Home, their last day of school before the holiday break was today. You will still see some traffic at the Children's Home. The next couple of days, they'll be having their teachers retreat. It will be a virtual drive-through, she had mentioned this year as well. But she did want to wish everybody a happy holidays and best wishes for the new year. Brian with the CRC. Tell us
Hello, everyone. Hey, so we are going to be running a holiday camp the next 2 weeks, starting on Monday. We will have shortened hours as well. So we're going to be open from 7 a.m. till 6:30 every day except for the eves. We're going to be closed at 4 on Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve, and we'll be closed on Christmas and New Year's Day. So other than that, we're still open. We're still, our weight room starting to get a few people coming back. People are still nervous with COVID, but we are cleaning it every half hour to hour or after everyone gets done, and we have extra cleaning products in there. We have volleyball, we have basketball, we have just people coming up shooting on their own. And then we've been having the school day enrichment for everyone that's been going successful. We've been full on that, and everything's been going really well. I see that somebody asked about the senior programming. We have senior programming for active seniors. We do not have sedentary, like sit-down games like card games and whatnot, just because of COVID. We're just worried that we want to make sure everything is safe and everybody's healthy. We've not had one instance, I'm going to knock on some wood real quick. We've not had one instance of COVID here at the rec center. We've not had to close down anything. We have been ultra clean. We really go to town every day, cleaning everything, sanitizing everything, trying to get everything well for everyone. We did have a toy drive that we've been doing departmentally. So CRC does a toy drive every year, and this year is no different. Even though it's COVID, it's a little different. So every rec center collects toys. We had well over 1,000 toys donated. Now I say that, but we counted a Matchbox as one. So some of the things were someone would bring a Target bag full of like makeup or Matchbox cars or whatever, and it might have 25, 30 different things in it. But we had a lot, and the Children's Home had donated some stuff to us as well. And we had another person that did 2 trash bags full of balls, brand new balls. So there's going to be a lot of families throughout the city that are going to really be helped with that. And we're giving those away on Saturday. every community did really well. So, and but Madison did the best because we're the best, and just the way it is. So if anyone has any questions, I'll take them now. Otherwise, that's it.
Amanda, were there any questions online or in the chat?
Nope.
Brian, you are off the hook for now. I was talking with Alicia earlier about what we're going to do for decorating for Valentine's Day. We'll keep you posted.
Yeah, who won this, the Christmas one?
You're going to have to wait a second. Look.
I got a chipmunk that opens his mouth and talks as well. I mean, who can beat that? A chipmunk that talks. But yes, we had our kids decorate. So we didn't, as staff didn't do it. We had the kids decorate. So if we don't win, you guys must hate the kids. Just kidding. Have a good holiday, everyone.
You too, Brian. Thanks. Wow, he hit us with the "we hate the kids." That was good, though. Groundworks wasn't able to be here this evening. They also expressed their wishes for a safe and happy new year. Business Chamber will be reconvening back in January. I know they did just have their holiday party the other evening. I heard it was lovely. If you check out the Business Chamber Facebook page, you can find out who won the Business Chamber Awards this year. I'm going to turn it over now to Alicia Chamberlain, who's going to tell us why the CRC didn't win.
Well, now, I am so proud of all of our participants, including the CRC, and I am so sorry to say, CRC, you had a lovely display, but our winners are the Summit and Waldorf, the Waldorf School. So we are delivering packages to them tomorrow. We have baskets. We tried to visit a bunch of our businesses and pick up goodies to create these really cool baskets, and we'll be showcasing those tomorrow. And hopefully, if all goes well, we'll have some live footage of us delivering those. We had over 660, I want to say it was 663 votes. This was really unprecedented for us, and we were super excited to see that many people wanting to support our small businesses. So now we have an indication of what we can do moving forward in this really strange time to support our businesses. So we're coming up with ideas, and we are starting to talk about an art walk in the spring that we'll be doing in conjunction with the Business Chamber and Artsville, be highlighting our small businesses. We're going to find some new ways, and we're talking to some other communities about the innovative practices they're using to make sure that we're thriving, not just surviving. We don't want to lose a business, but we also want to make sure our businesses are doing well through the rest of this situation. So we are here for that. And Brian just has made me feel really sad. So the kids did great, and I think we'll come up with some kind of little thing to deliver to them to let them know how great that their decorating was. We also, our senior resource toolkits are going out tomorrow. We're super excited for those. They're a little smaller than what we had anticipated. So as it turns out, COVID has created chaos in everybody's offices. We ran into issues where a couple weren't getting their phone messages. Some folks just weren't able to get stuff from the printers to us. So our goal is to get this basic information out. We do have some goodies. There are several goodies in these bags. The bags are really cool. The sponsor, 55 North, took care of those for us. We have information pertaining to how do you get rides to the pharmacy? How do you get groceries if you need them? Do you need a ride to your doctor? What resources do you have if you need help with your utilities or your home? Where can you go? And we actually have like the CRC listed, and I think the library listed as places where our seniors and our aging community members can get out and go find some kind of activity or programming. So the plan is that this year we get this out. So this winter, none of our aging community members feel like they're isolated and left out. There's a very critical piece of information in each bag that we're handing out. There is a program that 55 North is doing where if you qualify, and it's a financial qualification, you can receive a tablet. And not only do you receive a free tablet, they will come out to your dwelling, COVID safe. They have people that volunteers that have been doing this. They will load up the apps and they will train you on how to use this. I think a lot of times our older folks, they want the opportunity to use technology, but they're so afraid that maybe they don't know how to use it or they won't use it. This way they know they will. And they're gonna have some instruction and some help with it and support throughout using it. So we're hoping that this program will get those that are disconnected reconnected until we can get back face to face. So make sure that if you have a senior in your life, they know that we have these bags, how they're being distributed. The library has graciously, through Kate Bodos today, let me know, graciously offered to take on about 50 of the bags. So that will be one location. St. Paul Village, we're delivering for every single unit they have. We'll be taking them there. So they'll be taking care of those. We're delivering them to King Tower. Trying to think, we have Braxton Can has graciously offered to take 200. 55 North is taking enough for the clients that they serve from Madisonville, but they're also taking about 70 additional. You can contact them and we'll have information in our newsletter coming out tomorrow, not the community newsletter, but the MKirk specific newsletter. There'll be information in that tomorrow that you can look at and make a phone call to 55 North. If you can't get to a bag or don't have somebody who can get you one, they do have volunteers that do delivery for food, and they can also bring out the bags too. So, and they will be COVID safe. There's no need to be afraid or concerned that your safety is going to be put at risk. So basically, a big thank you to those who offered Braxton Can and Library to help us disseminate these bags and these toolkits. Big thank you to 55 North, our sponsor, and for their willingness to help us, and they helped us gather information. Big thank you to Community Council, because I don't know who all did it, but you worked together to create a really cool pamphlet of information about Madisonville specific resources that we have, as well as a sign-up sheet to be a member of Community Council. So we're hoping we can engage with some folks maybe who have been a little disengaged, and now's the time to get them back in, because every voice matters here, and the people who built this community definitely need to be included in our discussions we're having. So just make sure if you have somebody in your life that's older that you think might need some resources or want that independence to be able to find what they need themselves, this could be a really cool, easy resource for them to use. And there's also some neat magnets and ink pens and those really awesome grippies that open jars, which that is not like an older person thing. That is an Alicia thing since I was like 25. Other than that, we're writing grants. I'm not sleeping a lot. Jordan's not sleeping a lot. We're kind of 24/7 these days. I feel sorry for anyone who's had to handle me the last week or so, because I look like the crypt keeper, but I'm working on it. I'm trying to get some sleep tonight. We are working on our annual report, so we're hoping we'll have that done. It's not going to be done at the end of December like we hope, but early January, we should have that information out and available. Otherwise, from the board, from the staff, MKirk is so grateful that we get to serve you all in this community and we get to be a part of the success of Madisonville. We want to wish you a happy holidays and best wishes in 2021. It has to get better in 2021, right? Like, we're all in this. So look out for our newsletter. It should be coming out tomorrow. The community newsletter is out. Once again, Amanda Mahaffey, thank you to you and Jordan. You two are amazing, and it's appreciated. All right, have a good night, unless anybody has any questions.
Are there any questions, Amanda, for Alicia, either in the chat or online?
Nope.
Okay. Alicia, I feel your pain, because I think you and a couple other people are the ones that respond back to my flurry of emails at 12:30 at night. So, TJ with Meek is unable to be here this evening. I know, Amanda, you said he shared some information with you that you're going to put out on the web.
Yeah, he just wanted to let everybody know that Meek had their holiday distribution today from 2 to 6, and they gave away over 300 holiday boxes out, and their next food distribution is going to be on the 1st and 3rd Tuesday of January. That's the 5th and the 19th. So he also wanted to just pass along happy holidays and happy New Year to everybody.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. Ms. Knox, I saw your comments in the chat. Before I address that, there are no updates for Weed and Seed. Ms. Knox had actually reminded me that Community Action Agency received funding for housing and utilities. The website is the best place to apply for that. Madisonville Mission Ministries here in Madisonville also is working with Community Action Agency. I will have Amanda post that information as well. As our economy struggles, and I know people have had issues, jobs have been lost this year due to COVID. If you need assistance, again, everything is based on eligibility, but there are programs out there. Greater Cincinnati Waterworks is doing programming to help with past due bills. Duke Energy, Community Action Agency, Madisonville Mission Ministries, MEEK. If you need help, please reach out. We can get those resources to you. And with that, we're going to move on to old business. I do want to express apologies. We were going to have an update on the Jameson, the development at Madison Stewart. Unfortunately, Mr. Lingenfelter is unable to present this evening. So we are going to turn the floor over to Madison and Whetsel updates with Chris Breda. I'm going to spotlight you, Chris. And if you need to share your screen, you have capability to share your screen if you're doing any type of, yeah.
I think you're on mute, Chris.
You're on mute, Chris.
How's that?
Better.
Can you hear us?
Yes.
Are we going to double feed? So, hey, thanks for allowing us to present an update of the project here at Madison and Whetsel. I don't know if you all realized or noticed, but all the street lights are now illuminated and in place. All the street trees are in place. Curbs and sidewalks are in, so and the street has been repaved and restriped. So I think it looks a lot better. Hopefully, hopefully you guys agree with that also. So I've got some images that I can certainly share here and give you an update on where we are. This first slide, again, and I know a lot of you have seen this, but it shows the 4-block area. Building 4 is the phase 1 that was completed earlier this year. Building 2 is the Madison Retail Center that was reskinned and put a new facade on there, and we'll talk about that a little later in the presentation. Building 5 is what we call phase 2. That's on the Bad Tom Smith's block. If you've been by it lately, you've seen that building framed. And we are starting to put the brick and the block on that in the rear, and that'll come along to the front as we progress through winter. That's on track to be done around August of next year. So that's actually moving pretty quickly. And then down where you see building 6 down on the right, bottom right, that's phase 3. We should be breaking ground on that at the beginning of the year. So that'll be the final block and kind of the 4-block area. We'll go to the next one. Here's again the photo of the completed phase 1 at the corner. I'm sure you've all seen that. Here's a shot of some of the an interior apartment in that phase 1. We think they look pretty nice. On phase 2, the one that's under construction now, this is the site plan overview of that. Bad Tom Smith at the corner, and then the building that you see coming out of the ground. And just as a reminder, we have 116 apartments in that and about 7,200 square feet of commercial space. And we're starting to get notice from some tenants that are starting to want to see that space even though it's under construction. So that's exciting for us. Next slide, please. That's a rendering of what phase 2 will look like when it's complete. The next shot is what it looks like now. So you can see that it'll be, there'll be a lot of transformation here in the next couple months as we get the brick and the block and the materials on that building. It'll really start to take form pretty quickly. Here's the another shot of the phase 2 rendering looking from Ward Street down Madison to the west. That's what it will look like when it's complete. And that's what it looks like now. So, and again, on the right there, you can see the scaffolding being put up for the brick and block that will start to be applied to the building structure here. And then here's a shot looking at the Fifth Third Bank and the building that's coming up behind it. This shot shows the phase 3 block, which will, like I said, will start the beginning of January. And it's an L-shaped building there to the left and to the top. And then there's actually a separate building next to that, just to try to break down some of the massing of it. The blue is commercial space. We've got about 18,600 square feet of commercial space at the first or the ground level. And then we have 92 apartment units in that building. And then the yellow area that's shaded to the left is the public plaza, which we've shown some schemes of this in the past, but once the beginning of the year comes around, we'll really start to hone in on that design and make some kind of turn it into reality. So we're excited to get keep moving on that design of that space, which I think is going to be really important to the community. Here's the phase 3 rendering, looking at the corner of Madison and Whetsel of what that what the phase 3 block will look like. And to the right there along Whetsel, you can start to see that wide plaza area, which will be the public use space for the community. Here is a kind of a rendering that shows phase 1 to the right. This is if you're kind of hovering across or above the Madison Retail Center. So phase 1 to the right is the building that's complete. Phase 2 to the left is the building that's under construction. And then right there in the center will be phase 3, which will start construction in January. This is starting to hone in on the public plaza space, the wide space along Whetsel. This is an early concept for that space. We want to try to create a couple different experiences there in the center, more of a stage-like concept for outdoor venues. Down toward the right, we have some great elevations that we have to move from high to low as you get down to that corner. So we're trying to break up that space into some fun spaces there. That orange set of triangles that you see is actually a ramp that is ADA compliant. So we realize we have to be ADA compliant and have some ramps here, but we don't want to just build plain old ramp with railings. So we want to have a little fun with that. And then up to the left, we'll probably do some outdoor seating areas and things like that. So again, more design will be coming on this area or to this area as we get into the new year. But I think it'll be a very important and fun space for the community. Again, another shot of what that might start to look like as we get into that. And then here is the yellow part again is the ramp that kind of moves and meanders through the plaza there to deal with the change in the grade levels that we'll have to work with. So that's really an overview of where we are with the project. Kate, I'll stop here and can field any questions. Do we want to, I know we've got the new business piece here that we wanted to talk to, but happy to answer any questions on the 4-block area.
Yeah, Amanda, let's take a pause for a second before we go into the new business piece with the variance. Are there any questions online or in the chat?
We have an anonymous question in the Q&A. Is Ackerman going to be paying the cost to fix their error of filling in the window wells of the church with your sidewalks?
We have been in discussions with the city and DOTE regarding that. I think there's still, we met the requirements that DOTE has to fill voids. So, Kate, I know you're involved in some of these discussions with that, but we built it to what the city wanted us to do with that. So I know there's an issue there, but it was built per plan and city spec for on how to deal with underground void conditions.
Correct. They're still trying to work through some issues from the DOTE side. So still work in progress. Any other questions, Amanda?
Yes, there's another one. Where do Ackerman's employees park when working?
Right now, we do park in the lot behind us. It has not been an issue with the current tenants. If it becomes an issue, we will not park there. I mean, we'll park in and around the neighborhood.
It looks like there's in the residential chat, Mr. Tim had a question. What is the occupancy for, Mr. Tim, you just said 4 phase. I think it cut out. I'm not sure which phase you're referring to.
On phase one, we're at about 80%.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Phase one, we're at about 80%, I believe, last time I checked. 85, yeah. So we're, you know, it usually takes, I don't know, 18 months to lease up a apartment from 0 to 60. So we're pretty much on plan where we thought we would be. We really started to move people in April of this year, so we're 8 months in, I guess. So.
Okay. Miss Florence had a question. I'm sorry, go ahead.
We're very happy with that, given COVID and everything else that's been going on.
I can imagine. Miss Florence has a question. Miss Florence, go ahead and unmute yourself. Or maybe I have to unmute you. There you go. Miss Florence.
Okay, Chris, my name is Florence Parker. I'm with OKI Regional Council of Governments, and I'm just curious, based on what is occurring at the banks and also in over the Rhine to accommodate businesses being at 50% capacity, is your 4-block concept factoring in that there may be future instances where businesses, commercial, restaurants, retail, etc., might be called upon to reduce their occupancy? So, you know, is your design going to accommodate that for folks who would like to extend his or her business to the outside?
We actually have a fair amount of outside spaces. At the corner of the existing building at Madison and Whetsel, we have an outdoor patio area. You may have seen the multicolored fabric shades. So that is envisioned to be outdoor dining for hopefully 1 or 2 restaurants at that corner. We have the ability to put tables out a couple feet from the building before we get into the public sidewalk. Typically that's kind of 2 to 3 to 4 feet. And we are hoping that if a restaurant leases that space or even a business, if they, the ability to put some tables and chairs out in front of the building before you get into the public sidewalk, we've got that designed into at least the space to accommodate that. So we think that'll be attractive. Brian, you want to pull up that slide on the phase 2? We'll pull up a slide here on the phase 2 that's under construction now. Actually, go back to phase 1 and we'll look at that corner patio. So if you can see right there at the center, that's outdoor space that's envisioned to be outdoor dining for those corner tenants, which we think will be ideal restaurant spaces. And if you look at the phase 2 east, see in this rendering here, we have some outdoor dining area space to the right. Again, we think that space would be right for a restaurant type tenant. So we've got that corner that's open for there. And like I said, we have like 2 to 3 to 4 feet in front of the building before in the public sidewalk that we can put tables along there. And then here at phase 3 at the corner, we have at the first level an outdoor dining covered area down there at the base. and we have the ability to pull some tables out onto that public plaza. So we went into this before we even knew about COVID, with trying to create those outdoor spaces for restaurants or businesses. Even taking COVID out of the factor, having a table or some seating out at the street just adds to the liveliness of the area, and really creates that, I think, that street experience. And I would say that, in front of the Cheesecakery and the boutique down there, they have tables and chairs out there. One's obviously a restaurant, but the other is not. It's a boutique, and I think those, the people out there a lot. So we're hoping to be able to do that same thing here in front of the new development that we're creating. It's a good question.
Thank you.
Ms. Florence. Mr. Tim had a follow-up question. I lost my place. Are businesses becoming interested in leasing phase one? Got to be tough time to recruit businesses. Can you talk to that, Chris?
We have our leasing broker, Midland. When COVID first hit, we had, the thing about leasing is if you show the space to 10 people, 2 people might really be interested and qualified, and maybe you get one lease out of it. So before COVID, we were showing a lot of phase one space, had a lot of interest in that. When COVID hit, that just kind of went away for a couple months. We have a lot of interest in the Madison Retail Center, the older center that's been remodeled. There's always been a lot of interest in that. We're starting to see some more interest come back on the phase one space, which is under construction or finished. So that's encouraging for us. In today's environment, you get a lot of, I'll say, tire kickers, and it just takes a while. We've been working with a couple tenants, and a couple months. They need to get their board approval. Now that it's at the end of the year and COVID's spiking again, they're kind of rethinking things. But I think the interest is coming. We're seeing more and more interest, and like I indicated earlier, with phase two under construction, we're starting to get calls on that space also. So, which is encouraging because that's pretty early in the phase two process. I mean, we really won't be delivering that space till mid to late next year. So the fact that we've got some folks that are interested in it is nice. And I would say most of the tenants are not the national chains. We've had a couple, but most of them are either, I would call them kind of homegrown type tenants and retailers. A restaurant that maybe has a food truck but is now looking to do a brick and mortar location, fitness facility. Fitness is very hot these days. We've had a lot of fitness type users looking at the space, and some restaurant users. So we're encouraged by that. But yeah, COVID did a number on a lot of things, but we're starting to see more interest come back on that. So I think people are adjusting to the environment. So.
Amanda, were there any other questions?
Yeah, we have 2 more questions. One, I believe, is a follow-up to the parking. I'll start with that one. So the parking plan is to move your employees into the neighborhood street parking once your tenants complain. What is the plan for parking then once you rent the commercial spaces?
A lot of the commercial users understand that that this is an urban environment, and that parking on the street is not uncommon. So it's I think they understand that parking will be on the street. Parking will be 2 blocks away. So parking has really not come up much in any of the discussions with the tenants. And that it's kind of designed to be that way. If you look at a Clifton Gaslight area or a North Side, a lot of that parking is street parking, and you know, a block or two walk, or you put some money into the meter. So that's kind of the way this was envisioned, and most of the tenants that are looking at the space, I would say, kind of buy into that.
And then I have another one here. What percentage of the ground floor of phase 1 is actually open for lease versus how much of the ground floor is now occupied by Ackerman?
We have, what do we have left, Brian? 2018, 3,800, 3,800, 4,850. About 5,000 plus square feet still left to lease in the ground floor of phase 1.
All right, that's all I have in the Q&A, chat, and Facebook.
Okay. All right, thanks, Chris. Did you want to go ahead and we'll move into new business if there's no other questions about the update? We'll move into the new business with the variance request. You can go ahead and speak.
Yes, yeah. What we would like to ask for Madisonville Community Council's support is to allow us a variance to support internally illuminated signage for the Madison retail space. That's the one-level space. Here you see when we renovated, so we're in a form-based code district. The city has realized we can't put illuminated signs on the retail center for retailers. The city, I think, understands that this is not, I don't want to say it slipped through the cracks when they did the form-based code. So what we're asking for is the ability to put lighted signage, and really we have Amani's and Gina's are the tenants there that have been there through the renovations. We relocated Gina's, but we can't put a lighted sign on the retail center. So it's really becoming kind of, well, first of all, if you drive by there at night, we've got the canopy lights on, but there are no signs that you can see, you know, which in a typical retail center is the death of a retail center. You know, you got to have signs that people can see. We're not asking for any changes in the area square footage of the signs in the form-based code. We think that is fine and adequate. And I think at some point next year, we just don't know when, the city is going to kind of rework the code to allow the illuminated signs. But it's really becoming an economic hardship. You know, I'm looking across the street now, and Gina's was open an hour ago, but she's got no sign at night to kind of indicate that, hey, I'm here for business. And Amani's is the same way. Those are the main two tenants that are affected by this now. But as we have additional tenants that are interested in this space, the first question is, you know, how do I, you know, can I get a lighted sign? And right now it's like, well, you got to go through a variance with the city, and that's a tough sell. You want to show the next slide, Brian? So what we're asking for is a individually illuminated, and this is how we would plan to do this. We're not doing, you know, a box that's illuminated from the exterior that you see on a lot of centers. These would be individual letters that would be illuminated, I think in a very tasteful and elegant way. So yeah, we're asking for the ability to illuminate the retailer's signs, you know, so people know that they're there. But this is kind of the concept that we like. And you see these in, you know, kind of nice retail centers where it's tastefully done and looks good during the day, but when the light's on at night, it really pops, and it's, you know, I would say elegant versus screaming at your face. So that is our request to support our ability to get a variance for illuminated signage.
let me unmute myself. Okay, there's a request for a letter of support. Can I get a motion on the floor for that? Thank you, Sarah. Is there a second? And Alex, I will choose you as the second. We can go ahead and open it up for discussion. And this is specific to the motion. So if there's any other questions, we'll address those after we've closed out this motion, Amanda. So any questions specific to this motion right now? Sarah, I'm going to go ahead and unmute you. No, I think I unmuted you. Sarah, go ahead. Sarah, we can't hear you if you're talking. Sarah, we can't hear you, so I'm not sure if there's something going on with your audio. If you want to type your question, all I'm hearing is, maybe it's me, all I'm hearing, Amanda, all I'm hearing is static.
Yeah, she said her audio is not working, so she's going to
Okay.
type her question in. I've got a few questions in the meantime while she sends that through.
Okay.
So there's a question from Tess. She'd like to know who pays for the signs if they get the variance.
Typically, the tenant pays for the sign. It's a typical leasing, typical retail tenant pays for their own sign.
All right, and I have a question from April. Who is going to be in charge of the design for the signage?
Typically, a tenant will present a design for the sign, and then we have aesthetic design review input or approval. So it's just say somebody has a design for a sign, it has to be approved by us first before it is submitted to the city for final approval. So we have some design guidelines. So if somebody comes up with a really ugly sign that's in a box or is 7 different colors, we probably aren't going to approve it. So we are looking for long-term aesthetic look, let's just say.
Chris, to piggyback off of that, as the property manager, are you going to be putting together some type of sign criteria so that there's no question, it doesn't change from person to person? Like, here are the basic guidelines.
Yeah, that includes the sign, how the sign area is calculated. There are signage area limitations, and that's spelled out in the form-based code. But we actually have a document that shows some examples that says if your sign is, if your square footage is a certain width, then that actually triggers the amount of square foot that you have for your sign. So if you actually look at that top drawing, that shows those dotted areas show generally the square footage limitations that a tenant would have in that particular space. Now, these spaces may actually end up being leased differently, but this is kind of a tenant criteria that we have for tenants that say, this meets form-based code. You obviously need to go back and do your research about form-based code, but this is a general area that you're allowed based on the formulas. And it's all very formulaic driven, to be honest with you. It's in the code. It tells you, how the square footage is calculated for the areas and all that. But we do have some guidelines for that about what is and what's not allowed. And it really goes back to what's allowed in form-based code. The only thing we're asking for the variance for is really just to light the signs, which you can't do right now. And as a sign design goes into the city, so zoning actually has to approve signs. So,
yep.
We acronyms say, hey, we like the design of that sign. you have to meet these certain area criteria, show us that you do, and then that gets submitted to zoning for their approval, and they'll look at the same things and probably more than what we're looking for. So it's not like if we approve the sign, it gets to be built. It has to then go through zoning for their review also. So I would say, we approve it from a design aesthetic and make sure that it fits the area, the square footage areas. And then it goes to the city for zoning approval also. So it's kind of a two-step process. I mean, our process doesn't give them a final approval, but the city does.
Okay. I have a question, and this goes back to some discussion I know we had. It seems like it's been almost a year now. The original signs on this plaza were taken down when the facade was redone. Will there be any type of monetary credit given to the existing tenants who previously had signs and now they're going to be required to conform to this new sign structure?
We are working with the existing tenants to help them with the new signage.
Okay.
But anybody new coming into the center is kind of on their own.
Yeah.
I mean, it all comes down to negotiation at the end.
I know. Like I said, I know with the existing there were signs. It's kind of like there were signs before, and now I have to do a whole new sign. What does that mean? So
we are helping the existing tenants with this, helping them come up with a design that works, and then that's as far as I'll go with that. But we're trying to help them out. So
okay. A comment from Sarah Sheets. She said, "We've been aware of this issue for a couple of years. It was an oversight in the citywide code. I think we should support the change." It's kind of funny because Sarah and I don't often agree, but this is actually something I absolutely agree with. I know when we had sat in design review with Chris and Mark and Alicia and myself, we had all actually talked about the fact that the form-based code specific to the signage and the form-based code, it was actually very contradictory. It's taking the city longer to fix it than what was anticipated. With people working remotely with COVID, it's hard to get everybody on the same page right now. I know Walnut Hills is looking to adopt the change. Westwood's looking to adopt it. We had talked about potentially adopting it here in Madisonville. So I appreciate that comment, Sarah. I do want to piggyback and put that out there as well. Amanda, were there any other comments online or in the chat that we haven't already answered?
Yeah, I think we've answered the ones left regarding this topic in the Q&A. We did get another question from April. She'd just like to know, will the variance only apply to the center that you have pulled up here?
Good question.
Yes.
Chris, remind me, did we do a variance already for the retail center or not for the retail center? I'm sorry, for phase 1 and phase 2 or no, for signage?
Not for signage, no. We're hoping that, again, that gets cleaned up in the city's revision.
Okay.
Like we have our sign up right now, but we can't light it. So
got a switch.
It's designed to be adapted. It's designed to be adapted to be lit. I will tell you that. But we once they change the rest of it, we order the light pack and we screw it in and it gets turned on. But we can't turn it on yet. So
okay. I forgot to share the results of the last poll. So before we open up the voting for the other, just from the Youth Community Council poll, you guys should be able to see the results. If there are no other questions, I'm going to go ahead and open up the form-based code variance. So this would be a vote for the variance request to support internally illuminated signage for the retail spaces at the Madison Retail Center. That's 5810A Madison Road, 5810B Madison Road, 5810C Madison Road, 5810D, Madison Road, 5810E, 5812, and 5818 Madison Road. So all those addresses within the Madison Retail Center. I appreciate, again, Chris, you adjusting that to include all of the tenants, all the tenant spaces to get this moving forward. I'm going to go ahead and
That allows us, if we get a bunch of leases coming at the end of the year, we'll be happy. So
people are just waiting on this one little thing. I'm hoping.
They are.
All right, I've gone ahead and put the voting out there. While people are voting on that variance request, I mean, I think there was one other question in the chat, and then we can open it up to any other, if there are any other questions.
There's just a question. Do you know what the specific cost to the tenants is going to be for this? You have a
a typical sign like this is probably $3 or $4, $5, $6 grand. I mean, that's probably what it costs for a typical retail sign. These are a little more expensive just because of the individual channel lit. You can get them cheaper, but they look, form-based code will not allow the cheapest looking signs out here. So
neither will we.
And neither will we. So.
Follow up to that, are the tenants aware of the cost and are they able to afford this?
It's, I mean, it's something that's part of a typical retail lease. I think most do realize that if they want to put a sign, you know, the tenant doesn't have to put a sign up if they don't want to, but we certainly encourage them to. But I think most tenants realize that, yeah, there's the sign cost involved. And
I think they might have been referring to the current tenants. You know, have you guys talked with them about this?
We've had some discussions with them, so yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry, go ahead, Amanda.
I was gonna divert into the next topic related to for Chris, but go ahead if you've got the results, Kate.
No, go ahead. I'm gonna leave the poll open for another. Go ahead and answer that question.
Okay. So not related to this variance request, but what do you have an update on the Sierra lot? Is there a plan to bring that before council?
We've advanced a couple concepts, and we planned. Kate, we'll convene a design review committee meeting probably in January, and at that point we want to discuss those concepts. So we've presented a fair amount of concepts, and we've kind of distilled all those concepts down to one or two options, and we'll present those to the design review committee here, hopefully at the beginning of next year, and start that process with the design review committee and then council, or economic development, and then council finally.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and end the poll and share the results. 13 in favor, 1 against, and 2 abstentions. So the motion, the motion passes. Chris, I will get the letter of support to you most likely tomorrow afternoon.
Okay, that'd be great. That'd be great. Appreciate that.
Sure thing. All right. We're going to move on. I'm going to steal my screen back, Chris.
Okay. Thanks.
You're welcome. All right, we've got a couple of announcements. This is from Alex Smith. You want to let the community be aware that the Beautification Committee and Youth Committee decorated various parking spaces around around Madisonville, from the Chess Parks to Bramble Park and the Row Bridge and the flower containers along Madison Road. Yes, I mentioned it. You guys did an outstanding job. There have been several comments, and I've seen lots of pictures on social media for a lot of the spots around town that were decorated. There's the light map that Amanda put out of all of the decorated spaces. Thank you, Amanda just posted it in the chat, and I'm sure she's posting online now, of all the decorated spaces in Madisonville. I know the Nextdoor app as well has the opportunity if you want to post who has lights on, because right now there's nothing else to do and nowhere to go except drive around and look at holiday lights throughout the neighborhood, so it's been pretty fun. But hats off to the beautification committee and the youth council for getting all of that done. Amazing job. Were there any other announcements or any other questions before we end this evening? All right, with that, we're going to go ahead and close out this meeting. I want to wish everybody the happiest and safest of holidays. Here's to a brighter, dare I say, less socially distanced new year. I don't want to get optimistic, but I'm looking forward to actually seeing some people in person next year. So until then, everybody have a safe and wonderful holiday season, and we will see you back in January. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Happy
you.
holidays.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.